got my contacts.
Fans, we do have some tickets left over for
early morning.
Still available. Fans can log on to ClemsonTigers.com or call 1-800-CLEMSON. The last chance to see the Tigers in Death Valley this year. I will now turn it over to Coach Swinney.
All right, appreciate that. Well, first of all, before we talk about NC State, I would want to say happy birthday to my mom. Today is her 75th birthday, so happy birthday to Miss Carol, and she's somewhere with Kath now having lunch, I guess, but I want to say happy birthday to my sweet mom, and she's amazing. She's the last one living in her family, so she's an amazing lady. And then also want to offer up my prayers for the Lentz family. I know Zach and Michelle are really in a tough time right now, so just prayers with them, and just ask everybody to keep them in your prayers. All right, NC State. First of all, this is a place that's always been a challenge. It's never easy to go up there. You look at our games against these guys. 56-41, 24-17, 38-31. Last year we really played well here at home, but the last couple of years up there, it's been a grind. I think it was a punt return 2 years ago was the difference in the game. So they do a great job up there. Dave is a great coach, a well-coached team. This is a team this year that's a little different than the past few years, and they've had a lot of injuries. They've got some young guys. But I'm going to tell you, they're incredibly well coached. They're tough. They're physical. And they give their guys a chance to be successful. They probably scheme as good as anybody that we play year in and year out. And so really a tough task to play there. I think their crowd, they show up. Doesn't matter what. It's one of the things I've always had respect for NC State and their fans, because they show up regardless of whether they're 4-4 or 8-0. They show up and they do a good job. So tough environment to go play in. Offensively, they've had some transition at quarterback. Went with the young freshman last week. Assume he'll be the guy, but Hockman has played a lot as well, and they'll also do some Wildcat stuff, from time to time. But their strength of their offense is their offensive line. I think those guys are very well coached. They play very physical, and then schematically what they do with all their shifts and motions and trying to create tips on what you're doing defensively and create mismatches and opportunistic plays with all their screens. And they're a big stretch team, so fit in the run, backside pursuit is critical against these guys. But we've got to do a great job of recognition and lining up. They got us on a double move last year, and they got a lot of tricks. They call them. They don't just practice them. They call them. So, a lot of discipline in playing these guys, and then they're eighth in the country in punt return, 15.5. So they've got some dudes that can do something with the ball, and got some young guys at wide out. But a team that I think is going to continue to improve. But again, they have had some injuries, especially on the defensive side. But looking at them, they're physical. They're a little bit of a challenge schematically because they're a little unorthodox in what they do, and so you've got to do a great job of communicating and picking up their pressures and IDing properly. Because they're going to pressure. They don't sit back. They've had a lot of injuries in the secondary, but they don't change what they do. They're going to attack you. They're going to challenge you, and they're going to play man coverage. They're primarily a single high team, bring pressure almost 50% of the time. So they force you to have to make plays. They force you to have to do a great job in protection. We did not run the ball well on these guys last year. We had a few plays, but we were not efficient. I think we were about 2.9 a carry. We did throw the ball well, but we didn't run the ball very well. And so that's an area that we need to try to improve in this game. But they're good up front. 129-92. These are good football players. They got good experience, and they've settled in the secondary. Had some really tough losses earlier with some really good players, especially at corner. So they've had to move some guys around. But for us going up there, it's about execution. We're excited to be 9-0, And we're trying to get that 10th win. That would be a huge accomplishment for our program. The consistency that we've been able to have, and just continue to stay in the hunt for this division. That's what we're trying to do is win our division. We know that when you do that, little things lead to bigger things. So the division trophy is not very big. But if you win that one, you get a chance to win a bigger one. And so we're just trying to stay locked in on our journey and what we got to do to stay on track. With that, I'll take your questions.
Coach, this is one of the weirder seasons you can recall as far as just having to think about different quarterbacks for it seems like every other week you don't know who the quarterback's going to be for injuries or performance or whatever reason.
Yeah, it's been a little unique that way. Obviously, Florida State was one of those teams that we were trying to figure it out, and same thing at Louisville, and multiple guys coming in, but the BC quarterback got hurt. I think he's a great player, and I think Adazio and them don't get enough credit for what they've been able to do without that kid. He's a good football player, man, and but they've still found a way to win games. I think they've probably done as good a job as anybody in finding a way to win. But same thing this week. They started out with the one kid early, and then they went to Hockman, and then last week went with the Leary kid. But they do what they do. The one positive is they're not very different. They're going to call their offense. They're going to run the stretch. They're going to double move you and take shots and play action you and get in some exotic type of stuff. But regardless of who's at quarterback, but they're giving them a chance. There's a lot of quick game. Again, a lot of double moves, a lot of max protection, a lot of sprint out, a lot of pocket moving. Trying to help those guys because they're young at running back too. They got back got hurt, so they got young guys back there, and so haven't been just a huge drop back type team, asking backs to do a lot of protection and things like that. But they've thrown the ball down the field a lot, but it's mostly been shots, like I said, some max protection, some double move type stuff where they can get the ball off.
Dabo, what's Travis? Has there been any change in what he's done the last month in order to accomplish what he's done the last month? In the sense of his work ethic?
Yeah, he's just been who he is. I mean, he's had a great year. He had one bad game. He played terrible North Carolina game, but he wasn't terrible. I don't even know what game. What game was that? North Carolina. Was that our fifth game or so? Fifth game. He played well the first four. I mean, it's not like he's played bad. He just had a bad day, but he was just as responded and got back to being Travis Etienne and playing at a high level. We've gotten him involved in the passing game. I think he's worked really hard on that and just kind of refocused from that one game. I think the open date was good for him, and he's been amazing. I mean, it's really amazing what that guy's been able to do. I mean, we've had some unbelievable backs around here, and to see what he's done is pretty special.
A lot of those records that he's chasing were set in 4 years.
Yeah,
he's doing it.
Yeah,
2+.
2 years and 9 games.
Yeah,
kind of came in as a backup as a freshman, and by the end of the year, he'd kind of worked his way up there to second team, and then won the job the next year, and then now here he is. I mean, but that just speaks to his explosiveness. Career record of 80+ yard plays, career record of or school record of 200+ yard rushing games. I mean, he's just so explosive. It's just amazing. And as his body has developed, and he's still developing. I mean, his best football is still in front of him. But super proud of him. He's just become a very smart player, and he's become more of an all-around player. He's just blue collar, likes to be coached. Never says a word, never complains about anything. He just shows up and goes to work every single day, and he's become a leader for us this year.
Dabo, you mentioned earlier this week about exceeding the 100 mark of players in games over the season a couple times. Have you ever been around a program other than yours that has gotten so much playing time out of their roster?
No. Because I think coaches they get in the comfort zone and everybody's paranoid, and put a guy in there, and I don't think everybody works hard enough on it. to get other guys ready and to get guys in the game. But it's, again, I just think it's important. I know what a big deal it is. I remember my first game to play in my redshirt freshman year. I finally got, and back then you didn't dress. I mean, I dress everybody home games, and you don't have to do that. But I want everybody to be a part of it, but when I was coming up, you didn't do that. I mean, we had 150 on the team, and you didn't dress. You sat in the stands, and you work all week, and you sat in the stands. So I remember the first time I got to dress my redshirt freshman year against Southern Miss, I thought I had won the lottery. I mean, I couldn't wait to tell everybody, I'm dressing, and then I got to get in right at the end of the game. Tommy calls me over there, and he put me in on a run play, and I got smashed from behind by Martin Houston, fullback. And but I was so excited I got in the game, and that was a goal early on. I just wanted to dress. I wanted to get in the game, and we blew them out. We'd killed them, and so. But that was a big deal. That was a big deal. It was awesome, to get your name called out, and things like that, and then I kind of set my sights higher, and then the next year, ended up making the rotation, and lettering and moved to second team, and the rest is history. But it was a big deal, and I've always cared about that. Those reps are huge for those guys to get in there and have an opportunity to play and get a feel for it, and whether it's your scholarship guys or your walk-on guys. So, but I think that keeps everybody engaged too. Everybody's accountable. I told them at the half last week, hey, we're fixing to sub some guys this half. And some of y'all are going to get exposed. Because if you're not preparing every week, just like everybody else, then your opportunity is going to pass you by. But some of you's going to be ready, and some of you are going to catch our eye in the second half. And so it's just a great way to encourage those guys, and again, keep them engaged. And you don't really know if you're ever going to get a chance. So when you do get an opportunity in some of those games, I just think it's great. It's great for everybody. And the best thing is the selflessness of our team. Our guys are excited for their teammates because they know how hard they work, and they get really excited to see those guys get in there and play. So it's pretty cool. And then, now used to, we didn't have the red shirts available, so that's changed it a little bit. So you could probably only play, maybe 90 or 90 something. But now you've got a bigger pool of guys that you can get in for 4 games. So that's made it even better. I mean, to be able to see Levante Bentley get out there and play and fly around and play some special teams, and it's huge.
What about as far as development? Development, you're getting to see those guys play, just scholarship guys specifically.
It's huge. I mean, it's one of the greatest things ever done by the NCAA, to be able to. And then sometimes you come into the season, and we had a couple guys that we really intended to play, but kind of as things shaped up, they were like, well, you know what? We may be able to hold this guy. So we've been strategic on, all right, this guy's got 1 game left. This guy's got 2 games left. So we've been pretty strategic with a few of those guys. And then some other guys that we know, Rich, hey, just play them whenever. And it's something you have to talk about. You used to didn't have to do that. So we have to really have a plan going into each game on what the plan is, the situation for each player is.
Forget the final score. Clemson's played up there on Halloween. There's been laptops. There's been coaches doing things, overtime games. Seems like something crazy is always happening.
Towel stealing.
What is it about this rivalry? And is it one of the more underrated,
I just think it's the Textile Bowl, I mean, it just goes way back. And we forget about that. There's a trophy getting handed out after this game. It's somewhere around here. I guess we'll load it up and take it up there. I mean, I don't know. I don't really. It's out of my lane, but I assume Abe or somebody will grab the trophy and bring it. But there's a trophy on the line, just like Boston College. There's a trophy on the line in that game, and I think that's kind of cool. But I think just the history. NC State's been really good too, man. They've had some. Goodness gracious, they've had some players. They've had a bunch of really good players over these last several years. And I think Dave and them do a great job. I mean, they're really, truly a very well-coached team, and play tough, play physical. Again, this is just a team that's dangerous because they're young, and a little unpredictable. So you just don't know. For us, we got to be locked in and we got to play well. And then it's a tough place to play. They do a great job up there. A great job. It drives me going, it's another whoop back first down. That guy comes over there and screams that out. And I'm like, oh my God, if they get another first down, just don't give them a first down, because they just, the crowd does a good job. That's one of the better venues, I think, to go play in.
Schematically, who do they remind you of what you've played so far this season?
Schematically, they're a little bit of everything. They're a little bit of combination because they'll get it. They'll have few option principles, even though they're not really running their quarterbacks. But they do a little bit of everything. They're multiple personnel. They'll get in 10, they'll get in 11, they'll get in 12. They're not as tight end oriented as they've been in the past. They're pretty much a spread team, like all the other spread teams. That they probably run a little more outside zone than some of the teams. I mean, true stretch, true stretch type of scheme, but maybe a little more max protection than some of the other teams. But similar to several of the teams that we've played. I don't know specifically who'd be the most similar.
Dabo, I'm guessing tonight, wherever Clemson winds up in the college football playoff rankings, is not going to matter to you.
No, it doesn't matter. We lose to NC State. We're going to celebrate. Woo, we were third in the poll. I don't think so. It'll be all that will go away. So we just need to focus on what we control. All the rest of that stuff is based on, 9 games and people's opinions, and we'll be in the conversation. I have no idea where they'll rank us, but I know there's only 7 undefeated teams left. We're one of them, so we got a chance. And if we stay focused and committed and do the things that win this time of year, then we'll have a chance to be in the conversation.
How difficult is it to keep young guys on that path, steadily building as the season goes on? Because I'm sure they want to come out and, play really well right away.
It's very difficult because of the world that they live in now. It used to not be as difficult, but now it's just such a stimulated world constantly, and they constantly get questions, and people have, the social media and all that stuff, and dealing with media and the questions that just come up. That's just the way it is. So it's hard, but I'm thankful for the culture that we've established here, the leadership that we've been able to build year in and year out. That has served us well at this time.
You guys intrigued, Coach, perhaps just how the committee views the teams going to the first ranking?
No. If it's on down there in the Paul, we'll all watch it and enjoy our dinner, but I'm not really, it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter one bit to me.
Do you have to be a little bit cognizant when I'm sure you've heard.
Just like what if they tell us we're number 1 tonight? What, we're going to have a parade? A pizza party. No, we're not having a pizza party. It just doesn't matter. And if we're 2, 3, 4, 15, it just doesn't matter. It's not worth the brain cells. We just go to work and try to have a good Wednesday practice tomorrow.
I'm sure you've heard the people who have knocked Clemson's schedule, which you obviously have no control over. But does it, when you're playing a game and you think, well, is this the time that we put in our subs and maybe take the foot off the gas a little bit because we're up by 28 or whatever? Do you have to think about sort of style points when the committee is kind of analyzing some of those things?
If I was thinking about that, you think Travis Etienne would have had 9 carries last week, 16 total plays? No, I could care less. I really don't. And again, as I said the other day, that rhetoric is the same. We've played the same schedule since I've been a head coach here. We play 8 conference games. We play 2 SEC teams, unless it's a Notre Dame year. We play one other Division I, and we play an FCS from this state. That's what we've done. And every year, we don't play anybody. That's what we say. And in the beginning of my career, it was, well, they'll never be an ACC great team in the playoff because they don't play anybody. Well, then we become a dominant team in the postseason, and now we only win because we don't play anybody. It used to be, well, you couldn't match up in the postseason, and now it's, well, you only can win in the postseason against the great play. And I just laugh, and I'm like, it's just the same old spin. And I mean, who's beat Alabama in the SEC? Who's beat them? How many games have they lost in the last 5 years in their conference? You got to really think about that, don't you? Ain't many. But yet we've had a great run in our conference, but it's only because there's nobody else any good. So it's just the rhetoric, and it's the same, and it just doesn't matter. We play our schedule. I can't control what other people think or say, but I'll tell you this: our league's had 30. We've had the most bowl teams the last 3 years of any conference in college football. So, and we've done really, really, really well. But nobody talks about that. All those people who have those, and then you can go back and find plenty of video footage last year of all the people. Well, Clemson can't win. They didn't play anybody. They've only played one team, and it was Notre Dame, and they're no good, and all this and that. And then and then we win, and then it's, well, okay, well that doesn't work anymore. So. They were tired, distracted. I mean, it's just laughable. So it's fun though. I think it's great. I think it creates a lot of excitement and a lot of fun stuff to write about and a lot of good. I mean, dang, what would Quark and Kelly talk about on the radio? They'd have nothing to talk about. So I think it's great. I think it's a lot of fun. But for us, we just stay locked in on what we control, and we're excited to play anybody that we play, and we just focus on that week, and we get fortunate enough to get to postseason. We try to have the best postseason we can, and we've had a lot of good moments against great programs, great teams, and hadn't won them all, but we've been pretty good. So we just worry about our team. We don't run around and hold the banner. We just worry about our team. We just worry about Clemson. And that's, I think we've been able to represent Clemson pretty good.
The success this program has had the past few years, when you have gone to the playoff, are you surprised that narrative hasn't changed?
No, I'm not surprised. We hadn't had a network. We needed a network. We finally got us a network. Nobody, all these other networks sit around and talk about their league. That's what they should do. That's what they're paid to do, and they do a great job. That's what they're paid to do. We've been really, really successful without it. And now we actually got some people sitting around talking about the ACC all the time, in a positive way. We hadn't had that much, but again, last 6 years ACC's won 3 national championships, more than any conference. So we've done all right around here.
So if you're like 15th tonight, you're not going to bring it up to your team goal?
No, because it doesn't matter. We need to go. Maybe if we beat NC State, we'll move to 17th. We'll just keep working. We'll keep on working.
Coach, K'Von has had an interception each of the last 3 years.
Yep.
He's so versatile. Has he really developed into one of the best safeties you've coached?
He has. He's tough. He's physical. He doesn't get a lot of the credit that he deserves because he does the dirty work, man. He'll get in there, and he's gritty. And it would be pretty cool. I'd love to see. It'd be great if he could find a way to get an interception this game. I think he'd be the first guy ever to have an interception against an opponent 4 times. So that'd be a pretty cool accomplishment. But he's just really every year gotten better. And he's just more detailed than he's ever been. He's just more confident, obviously more experienced. He's catching the ball. He's making plays on the ball, although he did have one, I don't know if it was this past game or the game before where he had one right to him. But he's really made plays on the ball. But he's a physical tackler. And he's just very multiple. I mean, he's a good player. He'll make it at the next level for sure. He's like getting 3 guys on your roster. But he's really helped himself, and it's fun to see. He's the epitome of what you want your program to be about. A guy that just comes in. He's a talented guy, but he's not a great football player yet at this level, and he just gets better and better and better and better and better. He's become a really good leader for us, and he's a Paul Journey ambassador. I mean, he's incredibly committed.
What can he bring to an NFL team?
Diversity. I mean, like I said, in NFL, you're very limited on your roster spots, and he's like having 3 because he can play corner. He legitimately can play corner. He's played some corner for us, but he can play corner. He can play either safety. He can play nickel. He can play in your dime package. He can play in the box. He can tackle. I mean, he can cover. He's fast. He's a great special teams player. He brings a lot, and he's smart. He's smart. Got a great body. He's durable. Stays healthy. So it takes care of him. That's a reflection of how he takes care of himself. He brings and he's a winner. This guy all he's done is win, since he's been here. So he's got the mindset. He's going to bring that mindset to wherever he goes as well.
When he and Isaiah and Tanner decided to come back last January, did you recognize right away how big that was for this year's?
Yeah. And when Isaiah is the poster child for why you come back, he's somebody who drafted him last year. He'd probably been second, third round guy, just on his athleticism. And he's got a chance to be a top 10 pick if he can finish. He's special, and that he's the poster child of why you come back. And he wanted to come back. He knew he needed to get better. He didn't want to go in redshirt, because that's what would have happened. He'd have been playing special teams and kind of he needed to develop some more, and he needed to become more consistent and just really grow his knowledge base, and that's what he's done. He's just really matured, and I'm super proud of him. He's a most unique guy I've had defensively, and same thing with K'Von and Muse. Muse has helped himself probably more than anybody, because he needed to clean up some things, become more consistent. He's a very fast guy. He's more of a straight line guy, but he's going to have to play in the box at the next level. He's not going to be he's not going to be a safety. He might be a dollar guy, but he's going to be more of a Willie. And his physicality and his ability. Watching him, that Boston College game was awesome, and seeing him form tackle a 250-pound back in the hole. He's very smart, great instincts for the game. He covers up his weaknesses, because he's just so instinctive and so smart, knows what to do. And so he's been a very productive safety for us, and he's a great special teams player. So he's a guy that, like K'Von, in a different way, is going to bring a lot of diversity to a team, and he can run. But I think he will transition, and especially where the game is going now. There's a lot of 11 personnel, but yet he's physical enough to play 12 personnel. So I think he's got a bright future. Those guys have really helped themselves.
You mentioned comments about how Alabama was maybe distracted before last season. What was your reaction?
I ain't my comments. That's all the other comments. Ain't my comments.
What was your reaction when you heard that?
I just laughed. There's really nothing to say. I don't know what the big deal. We were just the better team that day. They were great. They were an unbelievable team. Oh, my gosh, unbelievable. But that day, we were just the better team. The year before, they were the better team. We weren't distracted or tired, they just whipped us. They're the better team. And, we could have won the game, but we just didn't play well enough. We didn't deserve it. And, there's no excuses. We just got beat. So I just laughed. That was funny.
Dabo, it's a little bit off the track, but where do you stand on Friday night college games?
I don't like them. Yeah. I don't like them. I don't have a vote. Don't get to say. All I can do is answer your question. I don't like them, but I like high school football. I like seeing my sons play. I had missed one a couple years ago, and we played on a Friday night. But I mean, it just TV dictates all that, and you don't really have much say in it. So I don't sit around and worry about it. But to answer your question, I'm not a fan.
Can you bring any of that up at coaches' meetings?
Oh, that's been brought up 1,000 times over the last decade. It's been brought up many times. High school associations write in and bring it up. Everybody brings it up, but it's just not something we have any control over.
As a guy who, at the end of your second full year, I think you have said many times about you were a little worried about your job security. What do you take from seeing the change at Florida State that quickly?
Man, well, first of all, I don't know I'm not there, so I have no idea what, I mean, whoever's making those decisions, they know a lot more than I know. I don't know. I'm just glad I didn't get fired after 21 games, 13-8. So glad they hung around. I'd have been real cheap to fire too. I think they'd have just called U-Haul. That's all I had in my contract. I didn't even read my first contract. Literally, they handed it to me and I went, "Where do I sign?" I didn't have no aid. I just signed it. I had no idea what was in my first contract. And that's the true story. I didn't have a clue what he was going to pay me. I think he paid me $800,000, and I didn't have a buyout. I think he had like a longevity fund that if I was still the head coach in like 20 years, I might get $500,000 if they fire me or something like that. I don't know. But if I didn't even read it. So I'd have been real cheap to get rid of after 21 games. So I'm just thankful to Terry Don that he believed in me. And, I mean, it takes, there's no magic wand, especially if you're going to do it right. And my philosophy early on was, we're not going to sign junior college players. I'm not taking transfers. We're going to build our program, and we're going to create a culture. I knew what I wanted to do, and it's not easy. But I mean, at least we did win the division the first year and played for our championship. That was fun and exciting and a little bit of progress. And then second year we won 6 games. Tough year. Lost 5 by 6 points or less, 2 of them in overtime. At Auburn, who won the Natty. At Florida State with 2 seconds. They hit a 55-yard field goal to win it. But we were competing. We were getting better. The team was growing. And we come back the third year and win the league. And won 10 games. Even though we were kind of like this down the stretch, we didn't know how to win. We didn't know how to handle success. We were 8-0, and we got bubble busted at Georgia Tech. And then we went up and laid an egg at NC State. And, we had to kind of learn and grow, and we did. We got better and better. And, but it takes time. And since that point, since 11, we've gone. But those first 2 years, man, I literally first 21 games, I was 13-8 as a head coach. So sometimes you just gotta be patient. But having said that, I don't know what the situation. Maybe there's things there that I don't know. I don't know why people make decisions the way they make them. But that's just kind of the world we're in. And we all know that. All coaches know that. You're only as good as the game you're coaching.
We talked to Ruke yesterday, and he was kind of talking about how he didn't start playing until his junior year of high school and things like that. What did you see from him recruiting-wise?
Same thing with Ruben. Both of them didn't start. They were soccer players. Ruke was a basketball player. Ruben was a soccer player, and he just finally kind of outgrew soccer. And they got him out there to football. I think he either played 10th or 11th grade. I think it was 11th grade year too for ET, but Ruke was 11th grade. Just a big athlete. Nobody knew anything about him, and one of them guys that you get a call on somewhere in the process, and you look at him, you go, "Ooh, man, he's got some natural stuff," and then go up there and see him, and then he comes to camp and all those things. You get a chance to work with him a little bit more, and but just a big raw athlete that has a good mindset and was came from a well coached school, and so just one of those guys that we had a mass exodus in the D line, and we were trying to find some some big bodies, and he's a little bit of a hybrid guy. Kind of, you don't know which way he's going to go. But I like Ruke. I think he's got a chance to be a really good player. But he's still got a lot of developing to do. But he's got natural stuff. I mean, some of the things he has you just can't coach. I mean, he's got a good motor. He's physical. He's got natural raw strength. But he's got to learn the game, and so it's just a daily process. And but we'll look up 4 years from now and like, wow, look how far this guy's come. So if he'll stay with it, if he'll stay with the journey, he's got the tools to make it.
You mentioned that Travis is thunder and lightning. I'm just curious, what do you think Spiller would do in today's offenses with the supporting cast?
Yeah, well, as good as Travis is, as many touchdowns, I know he's tied Spiller's touchdown record, 51, and he broke James' rushing record. But you got to remember now, I think Travis 50 yards or more. I think Travis has like 8 or 9. There you go. And C.J. Spiller had like, there you go. I was going to say 30. All right, 21. 21 plays of 50. And he was just so explosive and just dynamic. I mean, I don't know that we really had a true appreciation for how good that guy was. If he was in this deal, whoo, man, it'd be unbelievable. I mean, his all-purpose, I don't know, it's probably a record or close to a record in the NCAA.
1,700 yards more than any other ACC player.
There you go. There you go. I mean, it's unbelievable, what Spiller was able to do. Travis is just different, though. I mean, Spiller was a Swiss Army knife. I mean, he just beat you in so many ways. And Travis is a little more blue collar. He's not quite Swiss Army. He's one of them. He's Phillips head and Flathead. He's that. That's it. But man, is he effective? And just built differently, bigger. He's bigger than C.J. Just a lot thicker. And C.J. was about 195 here, and Travis is about 208, and he'll probably max out about a 218 type back at the next level. Again, his upper body still hadn't quite caught up with his lower body, but he's going to be a great player for a long time. Durable, tough. Spiller ran around him and by him, and nobody could have made him miss, and he was Houdini. Travis just runs through him, and it's just yards after contact, yards after contact, yards after contact. That's what makes him, to me, just amazing. If you just sit down and you count the yards after contact, whereas Spiller just in a phone booth make you miss, and then he'd outrun you. And Travis has got that type of home run ability. He's got that James Davis, collision balance as well with the speed. Special. And now he needed to develop as a receiver, and he's really worked hard on that. And he's just more of a complete player than any other time in his career. So super proud of him. But I'd like to have that old number 28 back in this deal. Be a lot of fun.
You talk about him developing as a receiver. Obviously, you've tried to run Trevor a little bit more this year too. How much are you kind of those could be weapons for you today, but B, like as those guys move on to the next level, like it's good to have some of those skills more ready and developed when they get there. Is there a little bit of like making sure they're prepped for what's going to be asked of them at the next level?
Yeah, I mean that's our responsibility as coaches is to give our guys the tools they need for what comes after football, and that's on and off the field, and that's why we make a big deal about, our career placement, and we make a big deal out of that. We want them all, whether they're going to the NFL or going to a job, we want them to be prepared and have the opportunity to go be successful. So it's a lot of fun to see a lot of our rookies go and be successful. And the reason that happens is because they are prepared, and it's a whole nother level for them and of growth. But to see a lot of our young guys go in and make early contributions, it just speaks to, their development. Whether it's Deshaun Watson, going in and winning a job after one half of football at the next level, or it's a Hunter Renfrow, who's making a game winner in an NFL game. Same things he did here. Or you look at Dexter last night, just blowing up the middle of the offensive line. It's pretty cool to see those guys have that type of success.
Speaking of, what do you make of Deshaun's post-game press conferences that he's had?
I have not watched his press conferences. I don't know what am I missing.
He's breaking down plays like.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. That was a few weeks ago. Yeah, well, somebody asked him about cover 4 or something. He was trying to break it down for him, but I talked to him. It's amazing. This was amazing. This is unbelievable. In fact, I'm driving to Greenville. We had recruiting weekend this weekend, so we had dinner in Greenville Sunday night, and I'm on my way to Greenville, and I get a text from Deshaun Watson. I just watched him. We had just watched him play at the house earlier in the day, and we were having lunch over there, and they're in London, and I get the text message from Deshaun, and I'm like, what's up? So I read his text, and he sent me a picture of him hurdling a dude. You remember the Natty when he went to the right and he hurdled the Alabama player, and they called him out at the pylon, and then he scores the next play. Well, he sent me that picture, and then under it he sent me a picture of him hurdling a Jaguar player and goes out. They call him out at the pylon, and then he scores the next play. And he's like, same end zone, same side of the end zone, and same guy. And I'm like, what? And so I call him, and he answers the phone. He's on a plane. They're getting ready to come out. And I said, no way. That was not the same guy. He goes, oh, yeah, same guy from Alabama. And I'm like, what? It was crazy. So little history repeating itself. So he thought that was pretty cool to send that. And so I just, he's doing great. Proud of him. Just try to text with him and keep up with him. And but I thought that was pretty neat that he sent that. And he actually had the picture. What's that?
You feeling pretty good about your Jordan comparison?
Listen, the whole Jordan thing came about, sometimes I say things, y'all know that I'm in the moment, and the whole Jordan thing came about because the Bulls had the third pick when they took Jordan. The Bears had the third pick, and that's the only reason that came up is because I'm like, man, you don't take him, you're passing on Jordan, that's kind of was my. And that just kind of took on a life of his own. But I meant it. I didn't mean he's Michael Jordan. I just meant he's a winner and a killer like that. I mean, that guy's he's got a will to win that is rare, and you just only see that every now and then. And that when I think of that, I think of Jordan. I mean, Jordan was. I mean, he's going to claw your eyeballs out to win. And it didn't matter if he won 6 championships or whatever. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if it was game 50 of 80 or game 3 of 80. He was going to claw your eyeballs out to win a game. And, that's why I always loved Michael Jordan. He played defense. He stole the ball. If the ball wasn't going in the hoop, he was going to find a way to beat you. He'd rebound. I mean, he was just a winner. And that's what Deshaun is. And I just was, trying to. That was the only way I could, and it came because they had the Bears had the third pick, and the Bulls had the third pick, and somebody, I think it was somebody from, I don't remember who, I think it was somebody from Chicago at the Senior Bowl that asked me the question, and I just said, what if you don't? I'm like, well, you're passing on Jordan, I mean, that's all I meant, but it just took on a life of its own. So I had to call Deshaun and say, hey, man, I'm sorry. I've put you, and he's like, that's all right, So anyway, he's pretty good.
Have you ever met Michael Jordan?
One time, but he doesn't know me. I'd love to meet Michael Jordan, like today's version of Dabo, where he might actually go, aren't you that coach from Clemson? I met him on my bachelor party. Yeah. So we So it was a clean bachelor party. I was a GA at Alabama, and he was playing for the Birmingham Barons. And so I had gone up a couple times to watch him play baseball with the Birmingham Barons, which was really cool. And he had bought the team a bus, and those AA guys were riding around in style. And I was disappointed that he had retired. I was like, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, what? I mean, what are we doing here? It was like when Barry Sanders retired. Like, what is going on? And but he's going to play baseball, but it happens at the Barons, and I'm 40 minutes from the Barons, and I'm from Birmingham, so he'd play at the Hoover Met, and got to see him play a couple times there. And but my bachelor party, all my buddies. Sometime in July, we got married July 9th, so we went to Birmingham, and we hung out, and they ended up taking us to I want to say it was called Jitterbugs. It was a little dance club at the Holiday Inn off of Green Springs Highway exit there in Birmingham. And so we're just hanging out, and it's my brother, so we go to Jitterbugs, but I'll never forget it when we walking up, there was this car parked right at the front door, and it had like MJ23, like a Mercedes or something, and I have a picture of it actually, but I remember going in, I'm like, Michael Jordan's in here, So some of the Barons were in this little dance place, and it was just a bar dance club. And so we all go in there, and I'm like looking, I'm trying. Sure enough, I saw him in the back. He's in the back bar area, and he's like, this high over everybody else in the place. And I'm like, I'm going to meet Michael Jordan, and I did. So I walked back there, and he's just kind of, and I just walked. I said, I introduced myself. I said, hey, I'm a coach at Alabama, and just, always admired you, and just wanted to say, hey, and he was super nice. And I didn't ask him for a picture. I didn't want to do that. But my buddies had the camera, the roll them, you roll it, a little Big B, Eckerd's camera thing. They were waiting. And as soon as I kind of got over there, they took a picture. And so I got a picture. He's like looking, and I'm like, So that's the only time I met Michael Jordan. So maybe that'll happen one of these days. That'd be awesome. He's the best.
You really never know where these press conferences are going.
Hey, you asked the question. I just try to answer it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank y'all.